Hi everybody, today we are going to talk about solving one-step equations. So first it's important for us to go over some basic vocabulary. Solve in math means to isolate the variable, meaning that it should be completely alone. So if there are some other numbers that are on the same side of your equation, we need to move them so it's completely isolated. A variable, which you see right here, is a letter that represents an unknown value. So usually we'll see like X, Y, or Z, but it can really be any letter. And then inverse operation is a phrase that we're going to use a lot. We talked about the word operation, which is just a math action such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So the inverse operation is the operation that undoes another operation. I like to kind of think of it as the opposite operation. So maybe you can guess that the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. The inverse of subtraction is addition. The inverse of multiplication is division. And the inverse of division is multiplication. All right, now let's see how we can use these inverse operations. To solve an equation, there's a few simple steps to follow. First, you need to find the variable, and that's the side we're going to focus on. Sometimes it's on the left, sometimes it's on the right. Then, we're going to move any number that's on the same side as your variable by using the inverse operation. So inverse operations can move numbers to the other side. And then you'll know you are done when your variable is completely alone. There should be no other numbers on the same side. Now, down here is probably one of the most important properties in all of Algebra 1, and it's called the property of equality. So the property of equality we're going to use when we're solving equations. It tells us that we always need to perform the same exact operation on both sides of our equation, and we need to show this in our work. So I'll show you how I would like to see you showing this property of equality. So if we add 5 on one side, we have to do it on the other. Always do the same thing to both sides. All right, let's give some of these a try. So for example 1, I'm going to start by finding the variable. So if I look at the same side as X, I see that there's this 5 that needs to be moved. So I'm going to ask myself, what is the inverse operation of addition? And it's subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. This is how I would like you to show your work. Now 14 minus 5 is 9, and then I see an equal sign, and then I see an X. 5 minus 5 is 0, so it cancels out. Our answer is 9 equals X, or you can write it as X equals 9. Either way is perfectly correct. All right, let's look at the next example. Here, I found my variable on the left side, and I can see that this -7 needs to be moved to the other side. So the inverse operation of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. What I'm left with is X. This turns to 0. Equals 15. And this is my answer because X is completely isolated. All right, go ahead and pause the video and give this problem a try. We will check our answers in just a few seconds. All right, go ahead and check your work. Okay, and let's move on to the next set of problems. So here, I see that we have a different type of operation. The first thing I want to note is that whenever you see a number touching a variable like this, -5x, we could actually read this as -5 times x. This is multiplication, and it's really important to know the operation occurring so we know which inverse operation to use. So the inverse of multiplication is division. And since this is the number I want to move, I'm going to divide both sides by -5. -5 divided by -5 is 1, so I'm left with 1x, which we just write as x. We don't write the 1 in front. And then 35 divided by -5 is -7. All right, let's try this one. Here I have 4 equals x divided by 6. So here's my variable, and here's the number I need to move. The inverse of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. 6 times 4 is 24. And here, 6 divided by 6 is 1. So what we're left with again is just 1x. All right, go ahead and pause the video and give these 2 problems a try. All right, let's go ahead and check our work. So in the first one, we should divide by 6 on both sides, and on the second one, we should multiply by -3 on both sides. So make sure your answer is -21. Okay, I have 2 more that I want to try with you. So you might notice in these equations, the number is coming before the variable, and that's totally fine, but sometimes when people see that for the first time, they're not sure where to start. So once again, here's my variable. This 8, I need to move using my inverse operation. If it helps, you could add the plus of the positive 8 in front, and that might help you determine that I need to subtract 8 from both sides. So 8 minus 8 is 0, and I'm left with x equals. Now, when we're doing this, let's think. I'm starting with more negatives, so I know my answer is going to be negative. Since the signs of the numbers are different, I'm going to subtract the values. 8 minus 5 is 3. So my answer is x equals -3. In the second example, my variable is here, so this -8 needs to be moved. The opposite of -8 is +8. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So here I have more positives, so my answer is going to be positive. The values or the signs are different, so I'm going to subtract. 8 minus 4 is +4. -8 plus 8 is 0, and I'm left with x. 4 equals x. All right, here's your last 2. Go ahead and pause the video and give these a try real quick. Okay, so 2 things to check here. First, check the steps you did. So here we should subtract 5 from both sides, and then check the addition. -4 and -5 makes -9. Here you should have added 10 to both sides. -12 and +10 gives you -2. All right, that's all for today's lesson. Thank you so much for watching.